Hi everyone, I'm Kenzie Kerr and I'm gonna do my project on my favorite brain part, and I chose the amygdala. What is the amygdala? The amygdala is a minimal structure shaped like an almond that is deep within the brain's temporal lobe. You actually have two of them, one is on each side of your brain. The amygdala is a part of your limbic system. This is a system that deals with your emotions, your memory, and your motivations. It is composed of 13 nuclei, known as the basolateral complex, which integrates sensory input, the central nucleus, which coordinates the fear response, and the medial nucleus, which processes signals and social behaviors. What does the amygdala do? The amygdala specifically focuses on processing your emotions, such as fear, and we see this with fight or flight response, aggression, anxiety, emotional memory. Say if you had a very emotional impact on something, this is something that will help you remember it, or social behavior, and this is sort of looking at understanding other people's emotions. Why is the amygdala so important? It has the ability to detect danger and make you respond in a very quick manner. This typically occurs before you consciously understand what really is going on in a situation or anything like that kind of around you. The amygdala is capable of linking memories and emotions together, and this is where a lot of people can get triggers from, especially if they can relate something to a certain smell or a certain sound. It is also able to develop and learn through something that can be both rewarding and punishing, and this is how we alter how we behave. How the amygdala forms. It arises from the embryonic forebrain, and it starts to develop around the 5th or 6th week of pregnancy. When the second trimester hits, the amygdala starts to form its final shape within the medial temporal lobe. During this process, it forms different connections with the prefrontal cortex, the hypothalamus, and the hippocampus. As you grow up, the amygdala grows at a very rapid pace, and it is seen to grow faster in males because they have a higher level of testosterone, whereas in females, it takes a shorter amount of time and it's at a deeper maturity level. The growth can be shown through different types of stress exposure or any hormonal changes that may occur. I also want to point something out in this picture that's on this slide specifically. You can see the two things that are highlighted bright right here. These are the amygdalas. There's two of them, as we discussed in the first slide, and this picture is actually pointing out like a zoomed in image of what's really going on inside the amygdala, such as all the neurons that are going on within that, and I thought that was very interesting to put in the slide, so I thought I would share. As we move on, we're going to talk about what happens when it malfunctions. So when your amygdala malfunctions, two things can occur. It can be overreactive or it can be underreactive. Overreactive amygdala can cause things such as PTSD, anxiety disorders, or panic attacks. Anything that is underactive, when it's not really doing what it's supposed to be doing, it can cause a lack of fear, there's lack of emotional regulation, or it can cause Urbach-Wiethe disease. Urbach-Wiethe disease is a very rare genetic disorder that affects the skin and the brain, such as the amygdala. And damage to the amygdala in general can affect one's decision-making or social interactions with those around them. As pointed out in the picture on this slide as well, there's the higher cortex, the amygdala, and the brainstem, which shows low emotions such as you being calmed or relaxed. As for the right side, the higher cortex is when it's disabled. You can get high emotions such as anger, fear, excitement, love, hate, disgust, or frustration. How the hippocampus and the amygdala are connected. The amygdala and hippocampus are looked at as emotional co-pilots. So when they function together, the hippocampus is responsible for the who, what, where, when, and why, and the amygdala is responsible for attaching to any kind of emotional significance, such as fear, and this is how emotional memories are easily recalled. They're both a part of the limbic system, and they can send signals to one another, which is how your memory forms. We can relate these to Alzheimer's disease or PTSD. With Alzheimer's disease, there will be damage to both the emotional and memory recall. And as for people who struggle with PTSD, this is when the amygdala can become too hyperactive and the hippocampus will actually shrink in size, which is why the emotional memories become so intense and feel so real, especially for people who have been in the war. This happens to them a lot. And thank you guys so much for watching, and I hope you enjoyed.